So, you said you were in a long-term marriage and you got married quite young?
So my parents started showing me suitors when I was 15 and I got engaged at 16, married at 19. So yes, I was young. Older cousin and me, we were the two eldest. We did it the way we were supposed to, the whole arranged marriage thing. And then everybody after that, it's about 30 girls in my family.
Wow.
It was big family of girls. They all did what they wanted to do.
Fair. Do you feel any envy towards that, or?
Yeah, I even felt envy when my friends went to uni and they were having a great time at uni, and at the age of 21 and my 21st birthday photos, I've got a 1-year-old in my arm. My friends are getting drunk, having great stories to tell me.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, so what did you do? I was like, so we cut a cake at home. I was holding the baby and here's the photos where everyone feeds you cake. But yeah, that was my 21st birthday, whereas they were getting smashed at uni.
And then you got divorced?
After 20 years.
Because?
Just grew apart. So when you get married so young, you haven't really formed your personality. You don't know who you are.
I agree.
And what happens is you start outgrowing each other.
Yeah.
And we were just going in different directions. So after 20 years, I turned 40 actually. And I was like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Do I want to be here when I'm 60? That was the question I asked myself. And the answer was no. So what am I going to do about it? It's easier to stay, harder to walk away. Because you have the whole shame of being Asian, and I'm supposed to be the one setting the example. So for me to make that choice was big.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfiltered podcast, where we take the eye out of unfiltered and put the emphasis directly on you. This is the one platform where we get to take down our filters and have raw, authentic and vulnerable conversations in regards to the challenges that we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations that I have on the show to be normalized, why don't you help me help you? To get more guests on and to have those difficult conversations in regards to the challenges we're all facing, I have to know what it is that you specifically want us to speak about. So if it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's been a hit for you, why don't you leave a thumbs up and leave a cheeky review in regards to what specifically resonates with you. Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode.
Okay.
Veena, how's it going?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, excited to be on the other side today.
You are.
I am.
The founder in the chair is in the other chair.
Which feels really weird. I'm a little bit nervous now.
Why are you nervous?
Well, it's you. I've been watching your growth, your journey.
Yeah.
And it's unfiltered. It's normally I'm a little bit more in control. And that's probably what I've been all my life. It's in control.
But you're in control here today. I've already fucked you up already.
Yeah, you have. You have.
Oh, God. Now, why don't you give everyone a little introduction in regards to who you are, what you're doing, because you've never been on this podcast before.
No.
And I feel like it definitely serves the audience and they know where they can reach out to you, etc., etc. So, by all means.
So, I'm Veena. And as you said, I've got a podcast called Founder in the Chair. And that podcast is just to give people a platform who wouldn't normally get invited to a podcast, but they've all got a story to tell. And sometimes that's going to inspire somebody. So that's why I wanted to give them that platform. Yeah. Apart from that, I'm one of these people who does loads of things. So I'm a makeup artist, which most people know me as, background in banking.
Oh.
Yes, I worked for a bank for 20 years.
Oh.
And I was a makeup artist on the side. So that was my side hustle.
Hustle and grinding.
Yes. And then life took a bit of a detour. I got
Okay.
divorced and I needed to make more money to make ends meet. So then I opened a beauty clinic. I have an empowerment company because I'm a trained instructor to walk on fire.
Yes, you are.
Walk on glass.
Oh.
I break boards and bricks. Bend rebars with the soft part of my neck.
Bend bars.
Yeah, you know the bars that, say a building like this.
Yeah.
They put these metal bars in the ground for foundations, and they're like iron bars. So you can bend them with that part of your neck.
And you've learned how to?
Yeah.
Should have brought that in. A little demonstration.
You can see loads of these on my page. But yeah, I started doing all of that in my 50s, which a lot of people are like,
yeah, they're not gonna.
What the fuck? What are you doing?
They're not going to think you're 50.
Yes. But it all started after I turned 50.
Okay, fine. Okay, fair. And you kind of like jumped into something I think we are going to focus on today. So, as I said with the last guest who just came on, I'm trying to take a different turn in regards to what this podcast is about, versus it being just an interview in regards to what you do, how you help people, etc. You have a story, and your story is going to be very inspirational to someone who possibly listens to this. The idea of what I want to do with you today is give yourself the chance to, again, really get unfiltered in regards to what's happened within your story, and hopefully it resonates with the guy, the girl, the child right now, whoever is possibly in a similar boat right now and doesn't know what to listen to. I know, like, when I'm going through something, like, this is gonna sound silly, but when I'm going through, like, say, like, not, we don't call it breakups, but like when a relationship comes towards an end or a situation comes to an end, I can beat myself up at times, and I'm always searching for something. So I'll go on YouTube and I'll write like sad, emotional clips on films, and I'm like, let me just get them, let me just feel with all of this stuff right now. And I'll try and look for podcasts and I can't really find stuff. And I'm like, well, if I could listen to this on an hour's walk, it'd probably be so much more helpful. That's why I want to talk to you about X, Y, and Z that we're going to get into. So
Okay.
Are you all good for that?
I'm good for it. Go for it.
Right. So you said you were in a long-term marriage, and you got married quite young?
So my parents started showing me suitors when I was 15,
Yeah.
and I got engaged at 16,
Yeah.
married at 19.
Okay.
So yes, I was young.
And so you knew your ex-husband from the age of 16?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, like, was dating allowed?
No, but we did.
Okay.
So my grandmother, in her wisdom, did the whole arranged marriage, and we started dating. So
Yeah.
between 16 and 19 we did, but it was very hush-hush because we weren't allowed.
Did you connect?
As much as you know how to connect at that age.
Okay.
Because at that age, you're so sheltered. I wasn't allowed to go out. My friends were allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed to go out because I had really strict parents. So sometimes saw him during the day, but not loads. Not the way you guys do these days. Really get to know somebody.
Do we?
Well, do you?
Do
Yes. Yes.
Do we just rush
There's a
into
lot of
things?
noise in your world now, which we didn't have then.
Fine. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a bad thing.
That having too much noise now?
You open your phone and you've got so many choices, and you deviate.
Yeah.
Like,
what you really want.
Yeah. So whilst mine was arranged, but at least it was just, here you go, here's your path, this is what you're going to do, and you're not allowed to do anything else.
Yeah.
So you make it work as best as you can with as much knowledge as you have. And we were really naive compared to everything you guys know these days. I got a job, gave my wages to my dad, he'd then give me an allowance. And by the time I got married, I didn't choose my wedding outfit. I didn't choose my jewellery. I didn't even have a makeup artist. And I just got married. At
Very
19.
unfiltered. Just ran it like that.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah. My mum was like, this is what you're wearing.
It's less chaotic.
Yeah.
It seems like it's less
I didn't
stress.
go, shopping in India or shopping on Soho Road or South or Broadway or Ilford. My mum was just like, here, I got you this, you're wearing this. We just got to do the fitting for it.
And did your partner at the time complain?
No.
There you go. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone's winning.
Yeah,
That's probably the way we should do things.
It was
nowadays.
it was just, that's the way it's done. It's normal. And I was the second eldest of a big family of girls. So I had to set the tone. I had to be an example.
Did that example, by setting that example, did things change then after?
No, they all did what they wanted to. So
Oh, right.
my older cousin and me, we were the two eldest. We did it the way we were supposed to, the whole arranged marriage thing. And then everybody after that, it's about 30 girls in my family.
Wow.
It was a big family of
family.
girls.
Wow.
They all did what they wanted to do.
Fair. Did you feel any envy towards that, or?
Yeah, I even felt envy when my friends went to uni and they were having a great time at uni. And at the age of 21, and my 21st birthday photos, I've got a 1-year-old in my arm.
Aww.
And my friends are getting drunk, having great stories to tell me.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, so what did you do? I was like, so we cut a cake at home, fresh cream cake with chocolate sprinkles on
That's
it.
it.
And I was holding the baby, and here's the photos where everyone feeds you cake. But yeah, that was my 21st birthday, whereas they were getting smashed at uni. So
It is
yeah, there
different.
was envy. There
Now,
was envy.
My mum was similar. She got married at like 19 or 19, had me at 22, something like that. So kind of very, very similar. I feel a bit sorry for my mum at times. I'm like, I don't feel like she got the opportunities I've obviously been blessed with to be able to like go uni and get smashed and all of that kind of stuff and experience relationships and stuff. But I also feel like they weren't arranged, but they could have been a bit different, I suppose. She could have got married but still tried to go uni, stuff like that. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, but you know what it's like in the Indian culture.
Yeah.
It's like you're suddenly in this family and there's expectations.
Yeah.
And you've got a baby.
Yeah.
You've got a family to look after, in-laws. You don't get those opportunities. I certainly didn't.
So you had your first child and then second one.
By the time I was 25, I had 2 children.
Fine. And then just navigated the marriage and children and yeah.
Being a daughter-in-law.
So you lived with your parents as well?
With the in-laws.
With the in-laws, yeah. Okay, sorry. And then you got divorced.
After 20 years.
Because?
Just grew apart. So when you get married so young, you haven't really formed your personality. You don't know who you are.
I agree.
And I went through this phase where I just wanted to do every course I could. So Windsor College, if there was a photography course, I was doing it. If there was, I don't know, some painting course, I was doing it. Because I only went to school. That was it. Just did my GCSEs and started working for Barclays. And I learnt a lot there, to be fair. But there was always like, I want to learn more. So I started doing all these courses. And what happens is you start outgrowing each other.
Yeah.
And we were just going in different directions. So after 20 years, I turned 40 actually. And I was like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Do I want to be here when I'm 60? That was the question I asked myself. It was a Sunday afternoon in July. And the answer was no. So what am I going to do about it? It's easier to stay. It's harder to walk away. Because you have the whole shame of being Asian. And I would have been the second person to get divorced in my family. Bearing in mind there's so many girls as well. And I'm supposed to be the one setting the example. So for me to make that choice was big. My daughter was away at uni. My son was always out playing football. And he was 15. My daughter was 19. And yeah, that was it. I made a decision.
Did it any like ruffle any feathers with regards to like your kids' relationship then with their dad?
My daughter wasn't shocked.
Fine.
My son took it worse than
fine.
my daughter. Did it ruffle feathers in the family? Yes, absolutely. My dad's words to me were, but what are you going to do when you get old? Who's going to look after you now? I was like, but, you know, what if one of us wasn't there? Who was going to look after each other? But that was his question to me. He wasn't happy. My mum, you know, if she could have been an Indian actress and had the whole drama thing going on there, she would have done. And there was a lot of shame in the family that, oh my God, what's Veena doing? That's not right. Why can't she make it work? But you just grow apart. And
what was that first moment though? You realised that this isn't working and we are growing apart now?
Probably been happening for years. And you don't see it because you've got children to focus on.
Would you say your children were your blinkers?
Yes. You stay together because of children, finances, the outer family. What will people say? That's the biggest thing.
It's the thing that is echoed consistently right now. And like, I feel there are people within 40s, 50s, and still probably think, I just can't walk away. They're not happy. And it's like, well, how do you then place happiness now into someone who's just dealt with misery for the last few years and just got on with it? All they've done is just said, well, that's it now. I'd rather just stay on board. Why would I want to leave? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's actually easier to stay than to walk away. And one of the things that so many women round about my age, who a lot of them are actually getting divorced now, said to me was, it's all right for you. You're lucky. I was like, no, it was actually really hard.
Yeah.
It would have been so much easier to not get divorced. Yeah, but I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Because?
What will my kids say? What will my mum say? What will my mother-in-law say? And then I won't have any money and I won't have this. And I was like, I went through a stage where I had no money. But you find a way. You learn to survive and you get stronger with the experience. And my daughter's really strong. Like, I know I've told her it's okay if you're not happy to make choices.
Why did you stay for so long?
Kids, family.
Would you do the same thing back if
Would
you
I-
could go back in time?
And do it sooner?
Yeah.
Do you mean? Could have, would have. Maybe a few years sooner. Maybe.
Yes or no?
Yes.
You would have.
Yeah. But I think, you know, when you have these decade birthdays,
Yeah.
you're just like, oh my God, I'm 40 now. And you think, what am I doing? What am I doing? Because am I going to get to 80? Am I halfway through my life? Have I got another 10 years, 20 years? Who knows?
What did it cost you walking away? I feel like that's a big question right now. Like yourself, it's easier to stay than to leave, right? But for those who are in that boat right now, who are thinking, yo, this ain't serving me, but they're afraid in regards to what it will cost them to leave, what did it cost you? Anything personally, emotionally?
It cost me my son being upset for a while, which was the emotions to deal with. And the family, the way they look at you all of a sudden. Like, I remember the first wedding I had to attend after being divorced, and you go to write the wedding card.
Yeah.
And you naturally just write everyone's name in there.
Yeah.
And I wrote the bride and groom's name, and then came to the bit from, and I suddenly realised I'm just going to be writing my name, and my children's names. And I just had a moment. I just had to stop, have a little cry. And then I went to this wedding. It was actually my Jaja's daughter, so it was close family. And I went to the wedding, and so the outer family started to find out, because then they're like, where's your husband? Got divorced. Oh, the whole Indian thing like that. So what happened? What did he do? He didn't do anything. What did you do? Didn't do anything. We just drifted apart. Like, give us a break. We got married at 16. And, we were different at the age of 40. So the shame that you've done this, and then the whole, now what about the rest of the girls in the family? They're going to think it's okay to do as well. You're going to get the blame for all of that as well then.
Do you think that's like very toxic?
Of course it is. But you can't stop people's opinions.
You can't, but shouldn't you then be in a position where what it is that your actions are based on what somewhat, for better terms, they empower you and empower the next generation to not settle and stay in unhappiness? Because I feel like if I was in that boat where someone ever pulled me up and be like, so why are you still single? I'd be like, be honest with you, it's not really by choice, but it just so happens that the people I've met are maybe not aligned. Or I remember when I came out of a relationship, it's a similar kind of thing. Like, why are you not in a relationship anymore? And I did the same thing as you. Like, I didn't like try and avoid the conversation. But if I could go back in time right now, I would just say, she wanted out. I didn't want out. It wasn't on my agenda. Like, my plan was to carry on with this stuff. Like, so that's the honest truth. Why did she walk away? I don't know. What do you want me to do? Like, read her mind for you? Like, she could give you a bunch of reasons right now. I'm fine. Like, I don't know why she left. We mutually just said, all right, okay, cool. And kept things going, and we're still like amicably friendly now. But it's that is that. And like, you can point the finger at me and say, don't do what Pre's done, and make sure you don't follow in those footsteps. Make sure you've got everything. No, there's no right or wrong answer. Life is life.
Absolutely. And you know what? Been born in the 70s, and you're supposed to just be this certain way, and that's how I was brought up. Your parents stay together, then your aunties and uncles all stay together, but then all of a sudden, I have a lot of friends who got divorced who are my age, and it was like, we're the black sheep. Oh, look at them going out now, look at them enjoying their life, look at them going on holidays. But it's because we made some difficult choices. It wasn't easy for us. It was really hard, whether that was financially, whether it was the way people talked about us, the way people looked at us. But it's a choice we made. And then you find your tribe because they get you.
Yeah, like-minded people who have been through similar things.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
No.
Good. I feel like there are times where I've had a conversation with someone and they regretted staying in longer than necessary?
No, I think it was the right time for me. I believe there's always a divine timing. It's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And everything that I went through, and it was hard, it was what other people said, I was meant to hear all of that as well, because it helps you grow, makes you stronger.
Did you, obviously, when you said you divorced, finalized when you were in your 40s?
41.
And then from then until now, have you struggled with dating and getting to know people?
So your outlook changes a lot, because you come out of a relationship, you've got children, and you're in your 40s, you're probably going to meet somebody who's got children as well. And you've got to be able to accept that you're not going to suddenly find somebody who's your knight in shining armour and they're just going to make everything better for you. Everyone has a story, and you've got to be able to understand that. And it's harder, obviously, when you get older.
Why?
Because you have expectations.
Okay.
So, for example, because I've got a lot of friends who are in the same position, they'll be like, well, I don't want somebody where I'm going to have to live with the mother. I don't want to look after the mother. Or I don't want somebody who's got kids that come every single weekend or lives with them. And you're just like, but what if that was your position? And you just expect a man to be okay with it. But a lot of women will be like, well, if I find someone who's just going to look after me and my kids can be there, but I don't want his kids coming around too much. Why? How is that fair?
It's not.
There's actually a lot of women round about my age who won't accept the fact that the man's going to come with baggage as well. Why is it only women can come with baggage? The man has feelings, and men don't even express their feelings very well. They don't want to talk about it. So you've then got to become... You go into a new relationship, you've got children, he's got children, possibly, round about that age. Or if he doesn't have children, what if he wants children? Have you even talked about that right at the beginning? Because what is the point of getting 3 years down the line and then you think, well, I actually want children and he doesn't? That's a big point that comes up a lot. The conversations at the beginning have to be clear.
So the difficulty you're saying then is false expectations, and then the fact that we've got a lack of clear communication in regards to what each other, what both man and woman want in this situation, which is, in my opinion, quite an easy fix if you just have that conversation off the offset and remove the expectations.
What I've realised now is you're in your 30s, right? I mean, I'm talking about people 40s, 50s and above. We don't even know how to have those conversations sometimes. And people in their 30s, they definitely don't have those conversations. And then they get older and, okay, let's talk about actually 30s. And you can probably correct me now. Is you've got dating apps.
Yeah.
And then you've got social media where somebody might be like, hey, how are you? You look nice.
There you go.
Or, and then it's like distractions.
Yeah.
But you're dating somebody. And I hear these stories all the time from like, oh yeah, but you know, I'm talking to a few people at the moment and then I'm going to pick. I'm like, wow. Firstly, how do you have time?
Yeah.
And then I've had some women actually say, well, I just copy and paste the same message and it's amazing. They all give me a different response.
Fair.
I'm like, really? But then I realised that was women in their 30s, 40s and 50s doing it now. I'm like, wow. And it's a different world now.
It is a different world. It is a different world. I do feel, though, when you talk about, like, say, like having false expectations, I feel like if you've got boundaries that you don't want to walk into a certain relationship based on the fact that you've got your kids and this is what you're looking for, if you can't accept the fact that this person might come with X, Y, and Z, i.e. their family situation, looking after parents, whatever, then you have to make it very, very clear from the offset that you're not wanting to dabble or entertain that moving forward. But know that the person that does come, who is readily available in what you want, might not have the qualities you're really looking for. I just spent a whole hour and a bit talking about that with the last guest, and we went into we looked at it from a place of like being attracted to someone, but what you're really attracted to is the internal characteristics they have about themselves. Like, we think, oh, great, looks good, like great hair, great beard, six pack, all of that, love it. And then you realise that can't fucking hold a conversation or fucking insecure about himself. or just has too much attention and doesn't really know how to give you what you really require, but you keep swiping right for that guy versus make it make sense. You know, but you know your type is anyway. I won't go into that convo, but it's interesting you say that, because I feel like the women who I have coached who are approaching like late 30s, early 40s, maybe a similar scenario where they've got kids or they've not had kids but have had like quite traumatic relationships. They kind of like bring forth like the similar kind of things that you're saying, and I have to check them back into regards to what is it that you're really looking for, and start fucking putting that out there in terms of letting people know that from the offset, versus dabbling around, going on a couple of dates and not getting anywhere. And then you want to throw the blame on the individual that turns up when you're not really being consistent in regards to what it is that you want.
Yeah. And I do think, let's talk about women actually. Women will say, well, the kids are going to be with me. Mostly kids are with the mother. But then you've got to accept that he's got children as well. You can't expect his children not to come over as much, or how are you going to live as a family unit? Talk about that right at the beginning, because his kids are important to him, your kids are important to you. Can you live as a blended family?
Can you align?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, it ain't going to work.
Kids are a big thing. Oh, all right, if there isn't even kids, then your values. People don't even talk about their values these days.
Did you struggle then, dating?
No, I didn't struggle, but because I was, I guess, from that generation where you easily adapt. Whatever you're, with me anyway, whatever you're sort of going into, it's like, okay, there's a family, there's children. How are you going to now maneuver this? And I guess I did adapt. But I do find women now, they've got, I want to talk specifically about women, is they have expectations, too many expectations. And it's sometimes just check yourself. Like, what do you bring to the table? What can you do?
We all have a lot to bring to the table. We all know it. But then when it comes down to it, I'm like, do you really know what you bring to the table? Yeah. You're just chatting a bit of shit. I call people out.
I think women have a lot of expectations from men.
Yeah.
But then men also, it's like she's meant to mother them. She's meant to, you know, cook, clean, be good to their kids, be good to their parents. And yeah, most women can do all of that. But it's like there's just no communication. Talk about that right at the beginning.
I spoke about it with a client earlier today. I'm glad that you just said that right now. I feel like what sometimes what some women don't recognize early on is that when we talk about love languages, what tends to get thrown out is quality time, physical touch are normally like the go-tos, what people say. And they look at it all from an intimate kind of point of view. And I'm like, no, think about it quite deeply. This guy that you're trying to speak to right now, his love language actually might be he likes to receive love by acts of service when people do things for him. When he grew up, his grandparents cooked for him and he felt loved and cared for when that happened. His mum made sure that he had money in his pocket if he needed it for school. Like made sure his clothes were ironed and washed. So if you're used to receiving love that way, naturally, why are you going to turn it away? So it's not that he wants to be mothered. It's just his love language might be acts of service. It's got nothing to do with physical touch or quality time and all of that stuff. So you kind of need to like really take a step back and think of it. Why is he behaving in that manner? If he's been brought up in a position where his dad was the breadwinner and did everything, and all of a sudden right now, he now feels he has to do everything. He had maybe older siblings or younger siblings, and his role was, you've got to provide. What, you think he could just step away from that? And I've spoken to some ladies who are like early 40s, and they just said like, I don't want a guy who's living with a mum. I don't want a mother-in-law. I'm like, I respect that, but respect the fact that like if he's willing to part ways, fine. He might not be willing to part ways just yet based on how he's been conditioned. That doesn't make him a mummy's boy. It's just purely based on the fact that his dad or someone in his family said, you have to look after her. And it still happens to this day. I know of families right now who still live with their wives who live with their in-laws in the same house, and they can't move out because it's been ingrained in that we don't do that kind of shit. Our family's always going to stay together. There's no privacy here. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
And so what do you do in that scenario then? You're
Yeah.
kind of screwed.
Yeah, yeah.
So either you don't go for that individual to begin with, or you try and understand why he's there and see if he can possibly maneuver a
Maybe
way
in
out.
the
Yeah. Maybe that's
future.
what he's always wanted.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
never had the voice to say, do it. Tell them you're out.
Or sometimes, like, men or women go into a relationship, oh, but he'll change.
Yeah.
She'll change. She'll accept it eventually. He'll accept it eventually. But like you said, it's ingrained. It's probably not going to change. So don't go into it if it's just not going to work.
It's true. Should there be a time frame of how long you get to know someone before you rush into marriage? Because I feel like nowadays people are doing it quite quickly. That's my personal opinion from what I see.
Getting married quickly. But these days, you get to know them a lot better. Like, you can go on dates.
Do you?
Yeah, but okay, I'm talking about my times. You weren't allowed to go out with them. It was arranged marriage, if it's an arranged marriage. Even a love marriage, like, you weren't really allowed to go holidays with them. These days, you can get to do all of that. So you get to know them, and then you still don't know them, because I feel people these days, there's something online, there's something in real life, and then there's something in between, and you probably know that in between. And because nobody talks anymore, they don't have conversations. Now, I think you, Pri, I don't know you that well, but I think you're quite mature for your age.
I've been told that a number of times.
And
Not sure it works in my favour, but yeah.
But I can see you having conversations, trying to find out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And if it makes that other person uncomfortable, they don't want to answer the questions or whatever, then you really need to ask yourself that, am I going to be able to make it work? Because if you don't ask those difficult questions right at the beginning, how do you know? How do you know how long you should date somebody before you jump into marriage? And why does it have to be marriage? Why can't you just live with them? Why can't you get to know them more? Why does everybody have that big fat wedding now, and then 6 months later you hear of them getting divorced? Where the parents remortgage their house to do that wedding, and then it's over.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. And it's, again, I think culturally it's seen as the right thing to do, to show you're committed. But if you don't really know that person, like you just said, if you go on holidays now, you get to know them. I don't think that's still enough. I genuinely feel that a sufficient time frame to get to know someone needs to be 2 to 3 years.
Depends where you are in your life.
My point being with this, though, and I don't know, I should have just kept her in the room. So it's basically a similar conversation. She got married quite quickly, this last guest that I was on. But she was basically seeing him nearly every day for a month. I think if you were going on 30 dates consistently, that would possibly take the space of a year if you're seeing someone twice a month and communicating in between. Like, to have that quality time, that makes sense. But even after a year, like, okay, cool, you might become boyfriend and girlfriend, get into a relationship or whatever it is. But even after that, like, to know I want to spend the rest of my life with you, that's a commitment. I want to have babies with you, that's a commitment. I'm not making that decision up within 6 months. You're crazy.
But why do you have to spend the rest of your life with that one person?
I don't think you have to either, but I feel like the narrative...
You change over time, and somebody you loved 10 years ago or 20 years ago, you're not that person anymore. And they might not love you for the new person you've become, and that's okay. Walk away with grace and
we don't want
wish
to do that
them
anymore.
well.
But yeah, that's it. Wish them well, but we don't want to do it. Why?
Why do we have to hate on them?
I don't...
Because for that period of your life, they served.
That's it.
And they were good to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stayed that long.
Exactly.
Okay, it might have ended a little bit badly, but...
Depending on the scenario.
Yeah, but you don't have to hate on them. Because in order to hate someone or hate something, you have to feel shit yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, going back to your question, how long? I mean, I'm now in my 50s.
You're about to say the number there, weren't you?
All right, 53. If I was to meet somebody now, would it take me as long? Probably not, because I'm going to have different conversations. I'm going to ask more questions, deeper questions. I'm at a different stage in my life. I have more years behind me than I have ahead of me now. So could I spend 2 to 3 years getting to know somebody before I'd make a decision to be with them? No, I'd probably do it much quicker. But someone of your age, I would say, yes, spend a bit longer. Get to know their family. Who do they talk to every day? Ask their best mate what they, if your mate was in a relationship, what would make him happy?
Yeah.
ask that person that question, but nobody wants to know those answers.
No?
They're too scared to find out.
I would rather live with someone for a bit and understand whether or not my living style and their living style are aligned, or if it's going to be a problem, then there's no point us committing to something where we then think, fuck, I'm having to walk on eggshells. Hate that, but...
Well, my daughter's 32. She's going to live with someone before she marries them.
Fair play. I think that's the advice you'd give her.
Absolutely.
Fair. Is that what she's told you she's going to do?
She is doing it.
Jeez.
She is. And if she now comes to me in a year's time and says, Mum, I'm getting married, I know she's making a more informed decision, and then I don't have to grill her boyfriend then.
Fair. So going back to then, you said something about like, why can't we leave our partners later down the line? We've got this myth of happily ever after. Do you think that's a lie, or have we got it all written down wrong? And the definition of a happily ever after is...
Happily ever after doesn't have to be in a relationship.
Okay, so we have got the definition wrong.
Because for me, now, I get to know myself. I'm not that girl who got married at 16 or had 2 kids by the time I was 25. I'm now someone completely different. So I want to date myself. I want to rekindle friendships that I may not have had time for when I was going through that rut of bringing up a child, going to work. And now I get to know myself. I did my first solo holiday in February this year. I mean, people are doing solo holidays in their 30s. I finally got to do one now. And I journal now. Like before, people would be like, oh, you should journal. I'd be like, why? Like, when I was 16 or whatever, I'd write in a diary. We called it a diary in those days. And it'd have a little lock on it, and which your parents could pick and read anyway. But you know, it's now called journaling. So we journal now. So the relationship has... If you don't know yourself, if you're not having a relationship with yourself, how do you expect somebody else to love you when... They could ask you a question, you'd be like, I don't actually know that about myself.
It's true. It's very true.
So the happily ever after, I believe you can have if you know yourself.
I feel like that needs to be preached a bit more. I am a strong believer that I can appreciate when a lady will tell me there's this concept of the body clock and they want to have their own kids, etc. And I get why you require a partner for that. However, I don't think you should just waltz over to the first guy who dangles over some story about how he's going to be there through and throughout, because what you're telling me you want in terms of a family and a lifestyle is kind of what maybe your parents may have done for you, and that love and support. You might not get that by just rushing into this right now. Just be very mindful about it. But
yeah, like you said, the body clock for a woman, that's a big thing. And if they really want a baby, then yes, sometimes they're going to just settle.
Yeah. But imagine this. You get into something with someone who says, yeah, he's on board, and then you realise that he can't have kids. Then what do you do then?
I know.
Walk out?
Yeah.
You're not going to walk out. You're not going to think,
No.
fuck, I should... You committed to this.
I mean, what do you do? If you really just want a baby, which you have all the tests before.
Because
you're not going to do that either,
You're not going to do any of that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I do really feel for women.
Yeah.
Our body clock is ticking, and men can have babies in their 50s, 60s, 70s, whereas we've got this small window.
Yeah.
But then it's equally okay if you don't want kids. There's so much pressure. Like, you need to get married, you need to have kids, you need to buy a house. There's so much you feel you need to do, because especially being South Asian, or any culture really. But the happily ever after can come in so many different ways. You could be really happy with your career. That could be your life. You could be with friends who just fill your cup. Like my friend circle, whilst my friends from before were there as well, in the last 2 years, it's really changed. And these are friends I've now got, and I sometimes laugh with them. I'm saying, do you know, if I'd met you 5 years ago, I would have thought you were a bit woo-woo. Because they're quite spiritual. But I now know I needed these people in my life now, and I just somehow attracted them.
Yeah.
And they just bring something completely different. And for me, they're my happily ever after. Because it doesn't matter what I need. I know which friend I need to pick the phone up to.
Fair play. I like that. What's Yeah, I do like that. They are my happily ever after. It's a good way of looking at it. I think that kind of like just forces people not necessarily to think, shit, gotta get married. It's getting a little bit late now. For
It
time's
doesn't have to
ticking.
be a relationship.
Fair. Or that kind of relationship. I feel like there's this false narrative around like just having fun and doing you. And you don't need to follow the script that your parents had. You could just do whatever feels
Well,
right
I
for you.
followed the script, and now I'm writing my own script.
Okay, let's talk about that script then. What script are you writing now, and how different is it to what was written for you before?
Well, I did what was expected of me,
So what are you doing now that's not expected?
just living my life.
What does that mean?
For me, my kids will cringe when they open social media. Mum, what are you doing now? And because it's not even in their script, because
Yeah.
it's like, other mums don't do that. Why are you doing that? Why are you jumping out of a plane, in your 50s? You could hurt yourself. And yeah, a couple of years ago, if someone said to me, go and do a skydive, I would have been like, no, I'm scared. But now it's like, I don't want to be scared anymore.
Fair. So you're just doing a bit more of you. Things that you may have missed out on.
Well, my friends were not having babies
Hmm.
and now have younger children, and my kids are older. So now it's like, I get to live my life again.
It's interesting. What's the most painful part of your story, though, that you still don't talk about?
Most painful part that I don't talk about. Interesting.
Yeah. There we go.
I would say it's actually the expectations that your children have.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like, but you're my mum. You can't do that. But, and they get a little bit upset at first, and then they start accepting it. Because it's like, well, so-and-so's parents don't do that. So-and-so's parents don't do that.
Like what?
They stay married. They don't, they're not on social media as much as I'm like, my kids will open their phone and it's mum. It's mum there again. And it's like, and then anywhere they go, oh, I know your mum. And they're just like,
They're not a fan.
yeah. And I think a lot of kids do that, but secretly I think they're also proud of me.
Yeah, they probably are very proud of you.
Yeah. But what I don't also talk about probably is the relationships that you have with family and parents. Because sometimes I'll blame my parents for, why did you get me married at 16? Like, why wasn't I allowed to stay in the home until, like, my sister didn't get married till she was in her 30s. Why did I have to at 16? And then I'm like, it's not fair.
Are your parents still here?
Yeah.
You had that conversation with them?
No.
Because
They'll probably be like, oh, but in those days you had to do that. You had to set an example. Otherwise, all the other cousins wouldn't have done it, even though they didn't.
what are you really worried about by having that conversation with them?
They're just older now and they're not going to understand it. And they're not those people now. Even they have changed.
That's fair. But that still doesn't change what you've gone through.
Yeah, but I've accepted it. And then I made choices that went against the grain and I know made them unhappy. So, yeah, I listened to you for all those years and then I decided I wanted to do what I want to do. And, yeah, I know people probably look at me, maybe in the family, friend circles, aunties, uncles, and they'll be like, look at her. Look what she's doing. And I'm like, it's my life. And I had a big life lesson 2 years ago, which totally changed me. And I'm really grateful for that life experience. So I have talked about this before. It's when when my friend passed away, who was my age, and when I made her dying videos, and because her kids were the same age as mine, that was my light bulb moment that life's really short. She did everything like I did as well. We got married a few months apart. And then she got divorced, I got divorced, she was judged, I was judged. But where did it get her? Because in the end, she passed away, same people judging her. She's no longer here, but I'm still here. And the one thing she said to me, because I always said to her, our stories have been quite parallel. Kids around about the same time, married about the same time, divorced about the same time. But you're going now. And it was in the hospice. And she said, your story has to continue yet, but mine's over. And for weeks after that, I kept reliving all of it. I'd never been with anyone in a hospice. We even drove her there. And for her to say, your story has to continue. And I was like, well, what is my story? What am I going to do now? And that was when I started doing things like when I became a firewalking instructor and all of that. And everyone thought I was mad. Like, literally, people would be like, you're so brave. But it's quite crazy, right? Or some people would say you're inspirational, but some people talk behind your back. And I know they do. I don't care.
Are you deterred from relationships now?
No. Because I'm going to have a good relationship with myself, which means I will attract the right person and I will ask the right questions.
But do you feel like through your marriage and then divorcing and then like dating in between to like where you are now, do you feel like you're much more focused on you, or do you still want some
I'm
sort
definitely
of
more focused on me. Like I said, the happily ever after has to come from me. So if I'm happy, then you attract the right person.
See, this is the thing where I feel like some people might fall off on, because it's like I'll put my hands up and I'll say I've learned to just love my own company, despite the fact it's shit at times. And you can be fine and happy with doing you in your own time and space, but there's something about having a certain bit of company in your life. Yeah. And that doesn't need to be something like consistently there all the time, because as we know in life, there's no such thing as immortality. But like the first lesson I try and help people recognize is that you don't need a partner. You may want a partner, but you don't need it. And once you've gone through that over and over and over and over again, you realize that your mum, your dad, brother, sister can possibly play the roles that your partner was once playing. Once you then get over that and you realize what you want right now is someone to be able to open the door for a different type of conversation or a different type of comfort or love, etc. That's when you're probably a lot more ready to be able to hold that space. But I feel like a lot of people now are possibly steering away from that and are happily just riding the solo train, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah, fuck that shit. Can't be asked if they turn up. All right, okay, cool, sweet. And I've been guilty of saying that in the past. And it's like, no, honestly, if I'm being very transparent with you, it would be great to have someone there to have that chapter as part of my story. But we deter and push it away.
I would say, for me personally, I've had that. So now I finally just want to get to know myself. Like, I didn't know who I was at 16.
But why can't you get
19,
to know yourself
20.
now,
I
even
didn't
more,
before.
with the right companion?
Yeah, you would. But you do need some time where you get to know yourself as who you are now. Who am I? Where my kids are grown up now. I'm no longer that mummy who's always needed. You know, they'll call me every now and then. It's not like before. The conversations with my friends are so different now, like compared to what I used to talk about before. Women go through journeys. You know, I'm of an age where I'm menopausal, and it's all of a sudden you're like, that's the last stage a woman goes through. I remember when I was told, leaving a doctor's appointment, yeah, so we've done your test and you're perimenopausal. And I was like, okay. So what does that mean? And then it's like, it's the last stage a woman goes through. We have so many changes hormonally, and that's the last stage. It now means you are not going to have babies anymore. You are not going to bleed every month. And that is it. That's your last stage. So that's what I'm going through now. And it means hot flushes. It means mood swings, brain fog. And you have to adjust to that. There are so many divorces that happen because a man does not know the woman is actually just going through menopause. But they think she's going 0 to 100 in like just like that and having a tantrum. But it's because men haven't been educated either.
Yeah.
And they're not psychic. They don't know that you're having a hot flush, you're doing this, you're doing that, because of menopause. So I think women have to get to know themselves. They have to be ready for that as well. There's so much more talk about menopause now, which is great. There wasn't when I was going through it.
Yeah.
And women start preparing for it a bit earlier in life. Like they'll do strength training. Like I did a deadlift the other day, and I lifted my body weight in just 4 sessions of going to a PT. Prior to this, I was so scared of doing weights because I was like, oh, but I'm petite. I can't do weights. I'm only 4'11". How am I supposed to lift weights? That's the story I told myself. So I found this PT who was referred to me from a friend, and he said, let's set a challenge. You're going to lift your body weight in 4 weeks. I did it in 2 weeks, and he was like, let's try it today. I think you're ready. And I was like, no, I can't do it yet, Harvey. You know, let's wait another 2 weeks, like we said. But I did it. And all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I am menopausal. I am this age, but I can do it. And I'm getting to know myself, because now I'm rewriting that story that it doesn't matter that I'm small, I'm weak, I'm menopausal. But yeah, I just lifted my body weight. So, yeah, going back to it, I'm getting to know myself.
Fair. I get the vibe, and you can tell me if I'm completely wrong, that in terms of getting to know yourself, you are enjoying that space. But I feel, and I could be wrong, that's not completely true in terms of you are comfortable getting to know your space. Or getting to know you in your own space. Part of you still would like someone to be alongside you on your journey.
Oh, of course. But not yet. There's so much more I want to do yet.
Why can't you do that with someone who's on board with what it is that you want to do?
Because I've got to choose myself first. There's a few things I want to do which I know I'd be better off doing them by myself.
Fair.
Like I've got this big thing about semi-retiring at 55. Everybody laughs at me and thinks I'm never going to do that because they think my mind is too busy. And that might be true. Right now, I'm on this mission. I think I've got 597 days until I semi-retire. Yeah, I have a countdown calendar. Because I need a goal to work towards. And I know to get to that, I've got to focus. And if someone comes along and they add value to my life and they make my life happier, because I'm happy where I am. I heavily rely on my friends. They're like everything to me. They are literally, like I said earlier, they pour into my cup. And it's really important for women, especially, to have your tribe. I think women underestimate how important it is to have your tribe. I actually know a lot of friends, women who come to my clinic. I've got a beauty clinic, and they don't have friends, or they don't have anyone to confide in. And we're emotional characters.
Yeah.
We need to speak. We need to talk to people. And when they say to me, but I don't have anyone to talk to, they're my client, I'll be like, you can talk to me, have my personal phone number, talk to me, like, don't suffer in silence. And a lot of those women are actually my age, and they're going through whatever they're going through in their marriages, and they've been there 30 years, and they're just like, but I can't.
No, they can.
Yeah. And then they say, but you were lucky. No, I wasn't lucky. It was hard. It was hard for him as well, because he was 16 as well.
Yeah.
You know, but we just grow apart.
Just to go back in terms of happiness, you're happy right now. Do you associate happiness with not being in a relationship? I felt like I just heard something in your voice when you were saying it. I could be just making it up, but it was more like, I'm happy when I'm not in one. And so I was like, does that say to me right now what she doesn't want to do is try and experience happiness whilst being with someone and being able to do all the things that she's got planned for the next 597 days?
I am right now exactly where I need to be.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing
I like to call people out.
more that I want right now.
Yeah.
Apart from my mission of getting to semi-retire. I want to draw that pension that I worked really hard for.
Okay.
I don't want to, what's retirement age at the moment? 67.
Life keeps going up.
I don't want to wait that long.
Fair.
I'll probably have a bad hip by then. My knees might not work or whatever. So, you know, I've watched my parents work really hard, and my dad got quite sick, and he never got to even get to retirement age, and he had to stop work. I don't want to be like that. So you learn from everybody around you. Like, learn the lessons. everyone who comes into your life, they teach you a lesson. Everyone who talks to you, and that's their story, but learn from it. That's what I do. I always try to learn from everyone's stories. I listen to your podcast and I think, that's interesting. What can I learn from that? And then when I found out that you were actually quite young,
Oh, God.
Why are you called Uncle Pre?
Oh, God. It just got thrown my way when I was at, long story short, at uni, I used to like try and just look after everyone. So this is where like my self-worth wasn't at its highest. I put everyone else ahead of me, then myself, so I'd make sure people got home safely. Then I kind of stopped caring a little bit, but still did. And then at work, I'd do the same thing, but if we went out or when it comes to studying and stuff, I'd try to like make sure everyone was all good. Remember, I dropped a couple of my friends off home just to make sure they were out of it, and I stayed sober for that reason. And so they were like, you're either P Money because you moan all the fucking time, or you're Uncle P because you're always looking out for everyone's best interests. And then it just kind of sat, and then I knew I wanted to leave work to do some sort of motivational thing, a motivational speaker. That didn't work because of COVID. And so I did coaching, but I just thought, Uncle Pre, yeah, let's just run with that. And it kind of like just fits the profile of being a coach, you know. Everyone has that one uncle or older brother or someone that they can speak to in regards to shit that they're going through, and they know it's a safe space. And I'm that person for a lot of people, so yeah, that's where Uncle Pre comes from.
Interesting, because I was thinking, where does he get that from?
Nah, it's you know, it's actually, that name actually gets me thinking a little bit more in regards to like how I play like an uncle role for like family relatives as well. How I can be there for like my younger cousins and my niece and nephew. I love being an uncle, kind of thing. And even like certain friends where they'll look at me as an equal, but you can tell within the conversation they're approaching you right now because they know you're that one person out of everyone right now who's emotionally tapped in to be like, bro, it's okay. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Here you go for it. Go for it.
So a lot of men,
Yeah.
even women, you know, people will be like, I want someone who's emotionally intelligent. And I even get women say it and sometimes think, but you're not actually emotionally intelligent yet, but you want the man to be.
Yeah.
So I would say you are.
Thank you.
And you're 32?
31.
31?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, younger than my daughter. How did you become so emotionally intelligent?
I think for me personally, I probably had a different childhood, and I say like I've been brought up with a lot of women, like loads of cousin sisters and stuff. I think after doing a bit of reading as well, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, I probably was in my feminine energy space a lot earlier. So I always try to like understand things, and don't get me wrong, like I always like things my way, but then I think I just slowly started to realize that my heart's always been in the right place, but my actions are always wrong, and that's where my masculine energy and wanting to be in control always took over. And then I just think like a lot of heartbreak, a lot of just seeing things unfold, start to just look at things from a different angle, and then you realize that there's always reasons behind why X and Y and Z happen. And if you keep making yourself the reason, you only hurt yourself and punish yourself. So coaching definitely helped. It kind of like heightened it, but I don't know. I feel like I was challenged a lot for it, for like being understanding or looking at things from a different perspective. And maybe that pushed me further to like, no, I can say this, and I'd always try and defend it. But yeah, I don't know. I got my university relationship that like didn't work out. That's when I stepped into like doing a lot of reading, a lot of self-help and care and stuff like that into my personal development and personal growth. But yeah, I think that's kind of a place. Give us a few seconds. Beiju.
So, got one more question for you,
Go on.
actually.
I love how you.
I know it's your podcast.
I know,
So when women come to you for advice and they're older than you, and they realise how young you are, does that work in your favour?
It's not advice. Coaching is a bit obviously different.
Yeah. But they talk to you.
Yeah, open up very quickly. I think it's the way I like to say it, and it's not like my selling point, but it's more of you finally got someone right now who hears you and understands that you're not wrong for doing what you're doing. and it's like they probably wanted a brother or a younger brother or a dad or some sort of uncle figure to just be like, it's okay, you're not wrong for this right now. And for a lot of these older women, again, if you're a generation above me, you probably never had that growing up. So it's nice and refreshing when someone offers it. And also, I'm very unfiltered. I just say it as is. So I'm not calling you out to like piss you off. I'm calling you out because I know.
Makes you think.
Yeah, and also like you have a lot to offer, and if you keep carrying on the way you are, you're just gonna beat yourself up. Like if you own right now the fact that you are working fucking hard, and any guy would be lucky to have you, let's fucking stick with that energy, and let's not go back to that rabbit hole where you just settle for any Tom, Dick, or Harry that turns up. And it's like, shit, I needed that. I'm like, good. I didn't need to give it to you. You had it within you, but let's fucking now work on it in a way where you stop doing all of this shit and spend another year of dating knobheads. We don't want that shit moving forward.
Yeah.
You want to be happy? All right, cool. Let's go chase happiness. But
Yeah.
that's going to mean making up with mum and dad if they've been holding you back. That's going to be like tapping into like some of those old wounds.
I love what you just said, that you had to tap into your feminine energy. Like most men would be like, oh, no, I don't need to do that.
I didn't know I was doing it, but
Yeah.
I think I've always been... I used to get called out for being emotional. You're so emotional. What are you so emotional for? I was like, I'm not doing it purposely. I mean, I get a lot of it from my mum when I look at it now. Like, she's very emotional at a lot of stuff. And I've had like a solid relationship with her, and my dad was very much the polar opposite. But it's interesting, like now at home, I talk about it a lot. Me and my dad are like very, very close. And for someone who couldn't really hold an emotional space, and I'd say his emotional intelligence was at 0.
Wow.
He can recognize and read the room right now.
That's
And
brilliant.
I wouldn't say he's like 50, 60% there, but he's enough there for me to then recognize that he's trying and he understands, and we can just leave it as that versus making the situation worse.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. Because I watch your TikTok videos sometimes and I think,
but the breakups.
yeah, and I think this boy is wise. Oh, sorry, I'm calling you boy because you're like younger than my child. But it's like, I think, wow, where has it come from? And that's really interesting because I've always been in my masculine a lot. And now I feel I'm a bit more feminine. But yes, it's really interesting you said that. So thank you.
Because when you're always in control to some degree on your end now,
Yeah.
do you actually give yourself a chance for someone to hear you out?
Yes, I do.
Space?
I've had to.
With your girls, probably.
Yeah.
But with your
With a partner,
dating scenarios?
I would be now. But it's because I've always been so masculine. I'm the eldest child.
Yeah, because you had to be.
Yeah.
And that's probably something you've never had to do. And you've always just maybe would have wanted someone to just be like, Veena, you all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's normally me asking everybody else, are you okay?
Because you're probably not allowed to?
Because I was just that person that I was meant to be strong. And if I fell apart, then everybody else would be like, oh my God, she's falling apart now. What are we going to do? So I always had to stay strong. But now I'll have my meltdowns. I'll have my moments. I'll listen to a soppy song and I'll be like, all right, okay, I'm just going to have a moment now.
That's good. I highly like encourage it. Like one of the clients I have, married couple, and I'm trying to get him, well, I'm not trying, he's stepping into it a lot more right now, just to be able to be a bit more open versus trying to be a hero all the time and solve every problem and keep his mouth shut. I'm like, no, let her know.
You coach couples as well?
Yeah, it was an experiment where I said, yeah, I'd work with the wife, and the husband was like, I want to work with him. I was like, you not sure? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. And I've done sessions with them both, done sessions with them separately.
Yeah.
And to see the flip side from where they were to where they are right now, unreal.
I am actually so impressed.
Thank you.
I'm actually like, I don't even know how I came across your podcast. And then I started watching you on TikTok. Then I met you last week and I was like, wow. We're trying.
It's, I just feel like there are probably a lot more people like myself who just don't have a voice or don't know how to articulate or are stuck in certain traditions where they can't say X, Y, and Z. I'm not talking about being a coach, but more like in the headspace of how they would like to hold conversations with women, but they just never get a look in.
Just a wise soul.
Yeah, it's just
old soul.
I get called that a lot on
You're
old
an
soul.
old soul. You are.
But interesting. All right, we'll wrap it up with if you could go back in time right now, to that 16-year-old version of yourself, what would you tell her to do moving forward? So you're going to see how the next 24, 30 years play out. What would you tell her to do in regards to, not differently, she's not going to change any of that, but what would you tell her to do in regards to be in a better relationship with herself?
16-year-old Veena, I would have told her to think about herself more.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, we were just conditioned to do it for everybody else. And we didn't know that we were allowed to be kind to ourselves. We can put ourselves first. So for years, I didn't put myself first. So I would put myself first.
What would you tell her, though, specifically? I'll tell you why I'm asking that. I've got clients right now who I will ask the exact same question, and they struggle to go back to a place where they can realize that, yo, I could have actually done that. I could. My younger self right now needed a pat on the back when I was struggling at school, or when I did well, or when I did this in a race or whatever. Like, there was never real much love there. And I'm like, so what would you do differently? I'd be giving that kid love a lot more often. I'd be celebrating those small wins.
I think for me, it would be recognizing that I'm enough. Because I was always trying to do what everyone expected.
Fair.
Be that good daughter-in-law, be that good daughter, be that good mother, be that great person at work, be that makeup artist, or what everyone saw about me. Like, everyone sees me on social media and thinks they know me. They don't. But it would just be to recognise who I am and what I can do.
Fair. Well, keep being inspirational.
Thank you.
Enjoy this journey that you're on. I'm intrigued to see what unveils further. Don't do anything too crazy, but
I won't jump out of any more planes.
no,
Not yet.
It scared the shit out of me when I did it. So
Did you do it as well?
That's a separate story, but yeah. But amazing. Thanks
you.
for being inspirational, and thanks for getting Unfiltered.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot for listening to another episode of the Unfiltered podcast. If you've liked what you listened today, drop us a like. If you've got any comments in regards to what we spoke about, if there's something you disagreed with, or there's stuff that you did agree with, drop us a comment. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed yet, give us a subscribe. Whether you listen to this on Spotify, Apple, or if you're watching this on YouTube, every subscribe goes a long way. And look, why wouldn't you subscribe? If you like the unfiltered nature of the podcast, surely you want to be in tune to whenever the next episode is coming out, right? Anywho, I'll catch you on the next episode of the Unfiltered podcast. It's been your boy Pri, and I'm signing out. Peace.